Phillies take the 2 games up in Toronto. They've now won 9 of their last 11 games. We welcome you here to Phillies Postgame Live, brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Amy Fiddle alongside Ricky Vitalico and Ben Davis. And it was a little bit interesting because we've seen them win games in a variety of ways. Last night, obviously, a huge comeback. Today, they get off to the start thanks to Kyle Schwarber, Ben. And then it's a bit of a lull. And then JT with a little bit of insurance. Is it good to win different ways for this team?
Without a doubt. They just can't always rely on the long ball, although they did that today. But Christopher Sanchez, the way he was able to settle down just did a phenomenal job. You're thinking after that first inning, 3 doubles in a row, you're thinking, son of a gun, this is going to keep going and going. But if they're able to, pull through, and that was my best Michael Barkin, by the way. You're thinking it's going to be okay, but Christopher Sanchez able to right the ship and get things back on track, and it was a good performance all the way around.
I almost don't know what to say after that, but it was very good.
Hold on here. There it is.
So it was very good to see. And this team, 4 series in a row that they've won. They have to beat the teams that are technically below them in the standings, and they did that. This team seems to be doing what they need to do at the right time, Ricky.
Yeah, they're doing the little things. I mean, if you watch, it's very simple to watch both teams when you're watching a game. If you watch both teams, you look at the Blue Jays and kind of going through the motions. That's what it looks like to me. Their bullpen absolutely stinks.
Atrocious.
That is one of the worst bullpens I've ever seen. They can't throw strikes. That's a big problem. But I mean, yesterday, chasing down baseballs, they weren't really hustling after things. Their defense, they probably should have had 3 errors last night, but Major League Baseball gives everything a hit now. But when you look at the Phillies, now all of a sudden you got a bullpen that's throwing the daylights out of it. Yeah. And that to me is one of the most important things that the Phillies needed to get going again. Obviously, 3 weeks ago, those guys were all down in the dumps. They weren't feeling very good about themselves. Now all of a sudden they're starting to ramp back up, and it looks like these guys are ready to pitch in playoff baseball games now. So I think that's a huge positive. Christopher Sanchez, you go out there, you're giving up missile after missile in the first inning, and you got to be thinking to yourself, this is not going to be my day. He pitches through some adversity very well. A lot of guys may have folded in that type of situation. You give up 3 straight doubles in the first, and he only gives up 1 run. You tip your cap to him.
It was another win for the Phillies. Let's go back up to Toronto and check in with Ruben Amaro Jr. Ruben, we've seen this team pull victory from the jaws of defeat. And today, these are one of these games sometimes, especially the way the Blue Jays are, as Ricky was talking about, not the best team that they're going to see, not the best conditioned team, not the most well-rounded team. It's important to beat those teams, though, if you're going to try to really kind of assert yourself in the final month of the season, right?
There's no question about it. You got to win the games that you should win. And again, it's very tough to win baseball games when you're on the road. But nice job by the Phillies of kind of staying with it. I know that it was a little inauspicious start there after they scored a run, and again they came back and the Blue Jays got ahead in the bottom of the first inning, but they grinded it out. And Christopher Sanchez made a tremendous adjustment in the early part of the game, and it was really noticed by JT. And once he made that adjustment, he was rolling.
Ruben, Kyle Schwarber. What else do you have to say? This guy steps up there today, another 2 hits for him, the home run, makes a nice play out in left field. He was kind of the total package today, wasn't he?
He was the total package. There are very few total packages out there, but he's certainly one of them. His leadership is a huge part of it, but I think part of that also is him, what he's doing as a leadoff man. He's not only is he creating a lot of angst for the pitcher in the early part of the game because he can put you up 1-0 immediately, but he also is getting on base a lot and scoring runs. We talked about it during the broadcast that he's not your prototypical leadoff guy, but he puts so much pressure on the pitcher because he's got to be sharp right out of the chute. If he's not, then he's going to make you pay, and he certainly has done that the last couple of days.
Ruben, you look at Jeff Hoffman. He's got a 1.82 ERA. He's got 19 holds on the season. This guy has been a godsend for the Philadelphia Phillies the last couple of seasons. This is with his 3rd or 4th organization. How did someone like this just kind of slip through the cracks and then he finds himself in Philadelphia?
Well, he's a first-rounder. There's no question that he always had the talent. He just, with some injuries and some other issues that went on, I mean, it's just sometimes it just takes guys a little bit longer. And I think sometimes when you have certain body types, if you're long and lean, it takes you some time to get a feel for how you can be mechanically sound on a daily basis. I think he's done a great job. You got to give him a lot of credit. I'm sure the people that have been working with him with the Phillies have given him the confidence and also the tools to get his mechanics to the point where he's throwing consistent strikes, and he's trusting himself, man. He really believes in himself. It's one of those questions, what's first, your confidence or your success? And he's had some success. It's creating confidence for him, and he's doing a heck of a job.
Yes, he is, and this team is rolling right now. Talk about that magic number down to 17. Ruben, thanks so much. Safe travels. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you guys.
They are off to Miami, but not before completing the 2-game midweek sweep of the Blue Jays, and that gives them now the 7.5 game lead over Atlanta. The Braves do play later tonight. As I mentioned, the magic number is 17. And now you look at it, 4 straight series wins, 7.5.
Keep pushing. I mean, that's all they need to do. You win series outright, you're going to be in the playoffs, you're going to win the division, and you will be one of those top 2 wild cards.
And that's the most important thing. We learned that in the pregame show. We were talking about it. The Brewers lost last night, so it's a 1.5 game lead as far as the second best record in the National League. That is really what they're really looking for. I think the division, okay, yes, that's all well and good, but you want to avoid that third kind of place finish.
Yeah, because we've seen what the Phillies have done in that wild card, that first matchup, able to beat the Cardinals in 0-2. And then, or in 22, and then obviously you match up last year and go on and beat the Braves. I mean, this is something it's been, something that they're really gearing for. Coming out of spring training, they wanted to win the National League East, and they're well on their way to that, hopefully. But to be able to avoid that first series, rest some guys,
right,
give their arms. These guys are eating up a lot of innings. Sanchez, another 7 innings today. I mean, he's way over his limit from the previous years. And get these guys a breather and let them rest a little bit. It's only going to help them out in the long run.
Oh, speaking of Christopher Sanchez, he is the subject of our Eye on the Mound, brought to you by PGW. And, Rick, you were talking about this earlier. Yes, he, was a little bit dicey in that first inning. You're thinking, uh-oh. But then he settled in. He
did. He really settled in. I think the one thing you got to love about him is he's just got the guts to continue going out there and continue to believe that he's going to make his pitches. You give up 3 doubles in a row, and trust me, a lot of doubt starts getting into your mind, especially when it's sitting in the first inning. And this may have been a big thing. I'm not really sure what JT said to him, but JT knows what's going on. He probably saw something mechanically. He probably came out there and said, look, here's what I need you to do. I need you to finish this and do this. And he comes right back out, and he ends up getting out of the inning with just 1 run or just those 2 runs in. And you know what? When that happens, you kind of almost boost yourself up a little bit. And then he kind of got on one of these rolls where he was making his pitches on the inside part of the plate. The changeup was outstanding today. 7 swings and misses on his changeup to go along with 13 total in this game. So, I mean, he got back to the groove he needed to be in. And that's what's important here. He got back mechanically to where he needed to be.
He was throwing 97 in the 7th inning.
Yeah.
And I think this talk that JT had, I mean, you go out there, he had 13 swings and misses, 8 ground outs. So that is typical Christopher Sanchez. But JT goes out there and talks to him and says, hey, man, you have to get this more extension. If you're cutting the baseball, so if you're left-handed and you start throwing pitches on the inside part with your changeup, you're not getting that good extension. He's got that great changeup that you can feather it away from a righty, or it has almost like a split finger action. It goes straight down. But to be able to do what he did today, 96 pitches through 7, 72 strikes, that is filling up the strike zone. But JT went out and said, got to get that good extension, almost like you're trying to reach out and hand it to the catcher. And that's when you get guys out in front a little bit more as opposed to coming across. And that's when you cut that changeup, and that is not Christopher Sanchez.
You got to think he has not pitched really well on the road, so you have to wonder if that was getting in his skull a little bit early on. But, I mean, you know what? Exercise the demons, and he did.
Well, we saw it. I know they talked about, Tom did, on the broadcast. Phillies are now 32-1 when their starters go 7 or more innings. I mean, that's remarkable. 32-1. 32-1.
This team, I will tell you this much, and this is one thing I love about this Phillies team this year, is that these guys know how to pitch. They're not those analytical throwers out there trying to throw a ball 105 miles an hour. These guys take what they can use, and they move the ball around. And I think it's been beneficial to this whole staff. I mean, you think about Johnny Holt's staff right now. The one guy throwing the hardest, I believe, is Christopher Sanchez right now.
Yeah, he's throwing the ball. I just love that they're pitching to contact.
Yeah.
It's I trust my stuff. Here it is. Hit it. I'm going to trust my late movement. I'm going to trust my location, and I'm going to get early outs. That's why these guys are so able to go deep into the ball games, because they're getting that second pitch ground ball, third pitch ground ball, and that is huge for these guys. You're going to save the bullpen, obviously, and also you keep your defense alert and on their toes, and it's just a win-win situation for everybody.
Well, it's also win-win when you've got Kyle Schwarber leading things off. Much has been talked about over the years about this guy being the leadoff. I think the argument was it's better start 1-0 than a man on, and he did it once again. Second pitch he saw, he had 3 homers yesterday. That gives him 4 home runs in 24 hours, less than really when you think about it, as he led things off. I mean, Ben, what else can you say about this guy?
Well, I can say that there's no way that ball only went 416
right,
feet.
That thing,
that's for sure.
It was crushed.
He almost looked at the ball and said, sorry. Like I hit that.
That thing had to be dented. Had to be. Look at Kelly Davis right there. He's loving it.
He's trotting around.
I mean, this guy, he goes on these binges, and he's unstoppable.
Yeah, and the whole thing about him not being a leadoff, for all those people out there that still believe in it, I think it's an absolute joke. The guy's got a 371 OBP to go along with 32 home runs and 89 RBIs. I think he's doing okay at the top of the lineup.
So you can see this. He's tied Alfonso Soriano for 13 leadoff home runs in a single season. The next one will put him alone at that list. Remarkable. Alfonso Soriano's on this list twice. You can see there 13 and then 12. And this is what he did against the Blue Jays. He enjoys the seeing them. Just a cool 778, 7 hits and 9 at-bats, 7 RBI, and 4 home runs.
That's a nice board to have if you could have it, I guess.
I mean, 778.
Not bad, right?
No, right?
Can't
Pretty
play the
good
Blue
board,
Jays
right?
every day. But this is a guy that tends to go on these runs. And I mean, obviously 3 home runs in a single game is a little much. But you guys talked about it. There's expectation now that he's going to be able to be that guy now in September. We know June's usually his month. Can he continue this, Ben?
Why not? I don't see any reason why not. But the problem that the opposition is going to run into is you think you have him patterned. And he did go into a funk where he was striking out a little bit more than he wanted to. But once he goes on these, I don't know how you can say to call it he's bender the way he's going on right now, but my gosh, he is just, there's no way, you can't pattern him, you can't pitch it to him because he's got, the swing is so grooved. It's like when you're on the golf course, you're not even thinking, just up there, keeping your head down and swinging the golf club. That's the way he is in the batter's box right now, because he is just in that groove where everything is bat is flat to the baseball. He's staying so well balanced. We talked about it in the pregame show. You just know one way to, because then you think, okay, well, he's hitting balls to right field.
Right.
I'll go away. Look what he did last night. It's a bullet out to left field. So you can't pattern him when he gets like this. And, man, it's a great sign for the Phils.